So what this series is about is Mark and I are going to each week deliver some content and some value just to, offer what we know, all the things that we do, what we tell people, all of our clients, the vendors, the sellers, the buyers. We just want to share it. We want to share it because we can. And so that's what we're up to for the next few weeks. All right, looks like it's going. So we'll wait, Mark, until some people come on and say, I don't know, chat. Oh, things are happening. Things are changing. Opens the back on Saturdays. I've got a little bit of a stall. Mark's left us. He's stuck with a really cool look on his face. Where are we at, Mark? You're stuck. That's right. I'll keep going. So basically today we are talking about, oh, you're back. You got a little bit stuck there, Mark.
I think I am. Yeah, dropped out.
Oh, that's all right. Easy done, easy done. So yeah, while we wait for some people to jump on, tell us about how's it feel for the opens to come back on, like from Saturday?
Oh, it's such a good feeling. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things, to be doing real estate for so long and to suddenly not be able to show homes was interesting. Life's changed for a lot of people over the last couple of months. So yeah, it was really good. On Saturday we had some strong numbers. We had we had plenty of buyers, definitely plenty of buyers out there, and serious buyers. So it was good to be back out there meeting people, and it was a relief to a lot of vendors as well.
I guess too, people have been chomping at the bit to be able to get out as well, to go and see some places. And even though it was like opened, by appointment, some people were still reluctant because of, we all have different ideas of ISO. So I reckon it was probably, it would have been a great feeling. So we've got a few people on now. It's like up to 23. So will we go ahead? You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right. So we're talking about overcapitalizing and what it means, how it happens easily, and, basically our skills and knowledge, and giving you the information, the content and the value to help you not do that. So what is overcapitalizing? I reckon you start this off, Mark. What is overcapitalizing? Oh,
look, it's one of a homeowner's biggest fear, isn't it? Overcapitalizing in a nutshell is when, if someone has a home, they've put some effort, they've renovated the home, and they've potentially put more money into it than potentially what they might get back when they sell. So it's a risk, and it's something that obviously we discuss with our clients all the time, making sure that when they're planning on putting in some renovations to whatever level, that they're doing
So Mark's I think he's having some trouble with Wi-Fi there. He'll jump back in a second. Hopefully it gets a little bit better. But it is like, it's really easy to overcapitalize as well, because we get a bit excited. So I think, oh, you're back. We do get a little bit excited when we think of all the possibilities. So keep going. Sorry, you just lagged a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll keep dropping out. I guess it's ultimately, after you renovate a house and you go and sell it, you're selling it for less than what you've put into it, less than what you owe on it. So it's definitely something that you do not want to do as a homeowner.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, because it's just stalls us. So what do you like? I'll talk about what it means to me to overcapitalize and what the effects are. But what about from your point of view, what causes overcapitalizing?
Well, I guess if you're not talking to the people and getting the right advice about where you should be putting your money into your home, then you're sort of going blind, aren't you? So I think the first step when you're planning on spending money on a home is to understand is where you are, your neighborhood, and the potential ceiling on values is crucial. So
because it's exactly right. So if you don't, I guess, plan ahead, You know, you could have a $400,000 house and you spend $50,000 making it look amazing. But if you're not, you know, strategically doing it for the right demographic in the right area, there's no point in spending $50,000 on doing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You need that advice, and you need to speak to someone. You need to speak to someone about, and obviously, you know, a real estate professional, and getting an idea of what your current value is, and then speaking to someone else about. And I think we've all dealt with someone that's gone through that renovation process and it cost a little bit more than what they thought. So you've got to have a little bit up your sleeve as well. So it's crucial that you are getting the right advice at the start. You know, if you're putting your effort, your time and effort and your renovation into an area of the house that you shouldn't be, that's where you might come unstuck. And I guess that's where, in the past, you know, I've met plenty of clients that have done that, and it's been a mistake. You know, if they could have turned back time and had that conversation again at the start, then it may have helped them. It's crucial that you get that advice. It's crucial that you're speaking to the right people and knowing wwhere you're putting your time, effort, and money.
Absolutely, the right advice for sure. And guys, just to, you know, anyone that's watching, if you want to jump on the lives and you want to be notified for that, just put in the comments below, notify me, and you'll get notified for all the rest of them, so you don't miss out. And also they'll be uploaded if you do miss them, so you can watch them anytime. So yeah, that's a really good point. So as far as renovating, like, I just wanted to mention, like, we can both just like riff on this. Renovating to with over capitalizing, there's obviously things when you renovate that you don't need to do, that it's not going to make you the money anyway. I guess from my point of view, my perspective, I know that valuers don't really think that laundries add extra value. So, you know, you wouldn't be putting floor to ceiling tiles and massive, you know, cabinets and spending a fortune on your laundry, because it doesn't add that much value. Whereas your bathrooms, your kitchen, you probably want to spruce them up a little bit. Brand new kitchens, you don't have to, you know, get the most expensive, luxurious brand new kitchen. You can get flat packs, for instance. You know, just like really do the homework on how much it's going to cost, really know your budget, and to know that, you know, you can do things cheaply but classily. Like, you don't want it looking cheap, but yeah, there's certain things that you can put into the home. There's stuff that you just don't need to do, and I guess that's where we come into it, because we've got that knowledge and probably made the mistakes in the past years and years and years ago, so we know that. And I guess that, you know, the three top things that I recommend is painting. Fresh paint will always make it feel amazing, and not probably not painting to your style. Like, it's really yeah, absolutely go neutral, because it's, you know, it's tempting to go, oh, everyone will love my style, but it's not the case. So go neutral. Lights, changing light fittings from the 80s. Just as soon as people walk in, it just screams at them, okay, there's work to be done. And then again, so the last one would be carpets, flooring. If they're stained and old and have odors, then it is absolutely worth spending, even if it's just the bedrooms, $5,000 to, you know, to redo them. That just makes a massive improvement. And it just feels good when people walk in. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Look, your buyers are the ones that are walking into a home and it feels fresh, it feels clean. Like you mentioned carpet. It's, you know, as soon as a buyer walks into a home and they feel like they're going to have to outlay that money before they move in, it's almost, unless they're a bit of an entrepreneurial buyer and prepared to put some money of their own into the home before they move in, it's almost a deal breaker. 9 out of 10 buyers, they want something done, and they want to be able to walk in and feel like they could at least move in, get their move on in, and it's ready to go for them. So I think just that, you've got to be, and there's obviously two different types of renovations as well. You know, there's plenty of people that I speak to are like, we're planning on spending the next 10 years here. You know? Can we put a pool in? Can we do a shed? Can we do these things? And then obviously you've got your clients that are thinking of selling pretty soon, but don't really know where to put their attention to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. If you're styling to sell, which is what we do a lot of, and you know, we work together a lot with our clients.
Yeah.
It's crucial that you're doing the things that matter to a buyer. And you know, and like you said, when a buyer walks in, you want them to fall in love with the home, and doing those things is important to that.
Absolutely. And it's not trickery. Like, we don't promote that. It's really doing the things that give value for the property price for you as the seller. And then also it's something that the buyers want, like, is they don't want to have to do these things. It's actually a win-win-win situation. And so I think, yeah, if you put the effort into it, and what I was going to say, I got distracted by the notifications, but yeah, so it's kind of like that win-win-win situation, and just doing the things where it adds value for everybody. Do you get the objections? Like, are they common objections when people look at aesthetics things, Mark? Do they, like, you know, do they go, okay, I think, you know, we're going to have to do all this stuff. We're going to have to I'm going to have to put in a lower price. Is that common?
Yeah. As soon as they see that there's things to be done, they're actually starting to take money off the price, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the homes that are done and finished and ready to go and ready to move into, you know, it's styled beautifully, presented beautifully, and they're really selling the dream on what a buyer, how they could see themselves living in this home. It feels good, it smells good, it's perfect for them to move into. As soon as a buyer walks around and starts to see that there's money to be spent, if I have to get an electrician in, that's going to cost me $2,000.
Yeah.
If I'm going to have to get painter in because I can't do it myself, that's going to cost me money. So, you know, as a real estate agent, when I'm advising my clients on how to get the maximum price, it is to take away absolutely every objection that a buyer might find in that home. If there's something that needs to be fixed, fix it. You know, take that time and effort and finish the home so it's ready for someone to just jump on into. And that's when you maximize your asset. That's when you get maybe 2 or 3 buyers, you know, competing for this home. And when you get that, you might get that extra $5, $10, $15 or $20,000 that you might not expect. So
absolutely,
our job is to try and maximize your dollar. And that comes through, you know, the effort leading up until our marketing, and then obviously getting on the market and negotiating. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, and the other thing is not just the you know, making more money, it's the quicker sale. You know, you don't have to have months dragging on of open homes every day. You know what I mean? It just takes away that. It's just like a quick sale. It's done. You can move on to the next part of your chapter, and, you know, buy that house that you put an offer on, you know, that sort of thing.
You look at your young buyers particularly. Young buyers are the ones that, you know, they've obviously had to save up for a deposit. So you look at it from a financial point of view.
Yeah.
They've got X amount deposit to go into the loan. They don't always have an extra 10 or 15 grand laying around that they have. They've probably already been busting their financial gains to get into a home for a year or two. So if you're expecting them to keep 10 or 15 grand aside to do those renovations, then you're limiting your buyers. They're going to want to find something. They'd rather put that 10 to 15 grand into their deposit and get an extra $50,000 from the bank and get a better house. So you're really, if you're leaving yourself open to having to do things still, you're looking for a buyer that's prepared to do it, but they expect it at a lower price. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So the next question was, and also I'll just mention too, this is our first one, and we're just, you know, trying to work out the best way with our technical situation and how to do it. So just if I know Mandy from Unified Marketing is helping us out with this, and she's in the background. Mandy, my thing is stalled. So if there's any comments coming up, maybe you could just read it out to Mark, or most certainly, you know, I'll be able to hear it in the background. So that has she gone for a coffee? Well, hopefully she's listening and she can come in, and if there's any questions anyone wants to put in the comments, like, we're here now, we can answer these questions for you. So if Mandy can read them out, because mine is absolutely on the computer. I can't read any comments at all. So it's stalled, but we'll get the hang of it. Hey,
we will. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good.
There's no editing in Facebook Live, is there?
Hey, what was that?
No editing in Facebook Live. You can't edit anything out. This is real time.
This is real time, mate. And
yeah,
we make a boo-boo, but everyone sees it. So But this is good. It's good. It's great interaction. So I love it. I love it. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions. So the next one was like undercapitalizing, what it means to you. There's two ways we can actually take that. I guess there's, not doing anything at all. And what was the other thing that we were going to discuss, like with undercapitalizing?
Yeah, look, we deal with this a lot. You got a lot of people that, when we're doing appraisals, we go and have a look at a house, and often it's that they're not prepared to do anything to take their home to market, or they don't know where to put their effort into. So undercapitalizing, in my opinion, is the things that should be done, or those little things, objections that should be taken away. I guess, if you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table. So you need to go that extra yard. You've got one shot of selling your home, and that comes down to all the effort with your presentation, through the photography, the videography, getting onto social media, getting onto realestate.com, all that marketing is what's going to get people to your home. Once they're there, if those little things that you think aren't important aren't done, they are to a buyer. So
yeah, definitely. And I mean, the thing is it's the same amount of work. It's the same amount of, you're paying the fees anyway. So why not make it work for you so you get that extra?
Yeah, but often it is people just don't know where to start. And I think, it's really comes down to just getting that advice. And, it might be, you might be starting this process in 3 months or 6 months. It might be something that you want to do really soon. It's just about having that conversation with someone that you trust. In the real estate, whether it's a licensed valuer, someone that you really trust, and to come around and have that conversation, say, these are the things you should be doing. These are the things you should focus on, and the things that you're thinking are important, don't do those, because spending $5,000 in an area that's not necessary is ultimately throwing it on the ground. So
yeah, it is
the advice that we would like to provide you.
Absolutely.
I've got a question.
Yeah, we've got one.
Have you got one?
No, you go.
Can I use items in my home to style to sell, or is it better to take it all out and have someone like you come in and do it? I think that's directed to you, Shana.
Okay, that's great. So there's actually two ways I look at it, and I guess this is where the trust comes in. And if it's not worth me coming in with a full, house full of furniture, and you've got some stuff that you can use and save money, then I will absolutely tell you to do that. So I guess the biggest thing is to declutter. The take away all your personal belongings, as far as your photos on the wall. Take away the things that are unnecessary. There's stacks of magazines, things that just make the place feel noisy because there's things around it. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not immune to it. I get clutter, things accumulate. So it's just taking that stuff away. If you've got like a classic lounge suite, a classic dining table, you can absolutely style them up to make it look amazing. You can, decorate it with a few things, your cushions, your throws, your beds can be, really declutter your bedrooms. Just have a neutral bedspread with some nice cushions on it. Definitely you can use the things you've got at home. If it's a mismatch of stuff, and it's like really old daggy furniture that's stained and, we've lived in, the kids have been on there, the fur babies have been on there, and you think that maybe I don't feel comfortable, I think there would be an opportunity to get more money by having some styling furniture in there, then that's when I would say definitely do it, because for the $2,500 you spend, that could add $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 onto that.
Well, it comes down to the photos again. From my point of view, selling a home, it comes down to how it presents in the market, and styling. It's a really tricky situation. We're going to homes all the time, and it's a fine line between providing advice and being insulting, because you're going in there and you're sort of saying to these people that maybe that's not what should be in the house when we present it.
That's right.
It's hard. You've got homes that clients that you can't necessarily insult them that way. So, but speaking to someone like yourself is crucial, I think, when it comes to getting your home ready to sell. It's those little tips that you provide, and I've heard you give them to clients. It's those little things that make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen people walk into open inspections and touch the couch and go, "Oh my God, I love this. Is beautiful. I love this home." And they're getting sold by how it feels in there, and that's really important.
Yeah, it is. And it is about the feeling. And I guess my biggest thing is that I tell people, and there's emotional attachment to your home and nostalgia. And if you're ready to sell, if you're ready to move on, you need to treat this as a strategic house to put on the market. It's not your home anymore. And I think that's an easy way to let go of a few things and really style it up to make it look as a presentable home for on the market, not a home lived in. But yeah, definitely, to answer your question, you can definitely use your own stuff, but yeah, make sure that it's like there's no mess, there's no chaos, it's clean, it looks appealing.
Yeah. Okay, I've got another question from Katie. Is it worth spending time and money on landscaping, or better to just keep it basic and tidy?
Well, from my point of view, I think it is, you can do it very simply. You don't have to go overboard. It's just, mow the lawns, chip the weeds, put some bark chip or something against the fence. Mark, like a couple of times we've actually said with an old tin fence, it just needs colour-bond fence. It needs a spruce up. Let's just spray it with a nice colour and it comes up amazing. You put some green plants spaced out against that, it looks amazing. What do you think? Yeah,
I agree. Like I think the gardens are crucial, and you don't have to have the most impressive, huge garden with roses, etc. It needs to look really neat, and just simply and it's a conversation I'll have at the appraisal point. If you're thinking of getting on the market in the next month or so, it's hard during what we're coming into winter. Green grass, it looks good, it feels good, and water's pretty cheap. From where we get it from, it you just put some water into it and really get it looking luscious, and it feels good from a buyer. From anyone feels good when they see a nice green grass. It doesn't have to be. Look, I think it needs something. It can't just be grass, no gardens. You've got to give it some life to some point. Some nice dark bark chip to give the grass contrast, and
absolutely.
If you're standing there in your backyard and that it needs something, then put something into it. Again, talk to a professional. There's plenty of good landscape architects out there that, but again, putting too much money into it, it really comes down to where you are, what your neighborhood's like. You've got to look at your value. You've got to look at potentially, okay, if that's the best house in the street up there, what'd that sell for? Is my home, once I do this, is my potential that same price, or is it more? And we can look in different neighborhoods around Mildura. And you might have a ceiling of 300 in one area, and then the next street over it might be 400, and then up the road it might be 700. So it's really important to do research on your street, on your neighborhood, what's been selling. We've got all those statistics. We can give you all that information at an appraisal. So I think that's, before you do anything, it's really important. And that once you've got that information, then you can actually say, okay, well, all right, I think that I can make 400 if I do this, this, and this. So therefore, I'm only spending $30,000. Potentially, I can make 50,000. So that's where you make those decisions. It's not after you've spent all the money. And I guess that's why we're here talking about this. Make sure you're getting the right advice. If you are wanting to do those major renovations, then it might mean that you have to stay there for a few years. So it's back to the garden question. It's crucial. It's really, really important that your garden looks good, I believe. But it can be done simply. Absolutely. Just a contrast of colours, fresh new plants that aren't half dead, and I guess it can be done like under $1,000 really easily. Even if you just like focus on an area and back sort of obviously the backyard, the front yard. The front yard is first 7 seconds what makes the impression, so maybe focus on that more so, and then just have the tidy backyard, whatever your budget is and whatever you're going to spend on it. But definitely include that. If you're thinking of selling, go to the front of your your home or the front gate or your footpath, and pretend you're a buyer. Look at what maybe a buyer would see when they walk in, and take some notes. I reckon by the time you get to the back, and everyone would be the same, by the time you get to the back fence, you'll have a fair list of things that you might want to change. And when you live in a home, you become quite blind to certain things that are there, whether it's a cobweb or whether it's a dead tree or whether it's
pile of bricks or something.
Whatever. If you become sort of, it's there, you sort of forget it's there. So if you go to the front yard, you stand there and you go through that process and you write some notes down. Look, we renovated a kitchen a few years ago, and we put some really nice shelves in. The idea was to look really good and put knick-knacky things in there. It became a bit of a dumping ground for us. Sam puts her bag there. All our invoices and bills and all that sort of stuff.
It's easy to
kind
do.
of went out the window. But that happens, and we understand that things change when you live in a house for simplicity sometimes. So just start from the house and write some notes.
Yeah, and I guess one of the tips that I use is take photos, because the photos will tell a story more than what your eyes do. If you've been living there for so long, take photos of the front of the house from the front gate. Take photos of the kitchen. What does it look like? You'll see it through the photos more than you'll see like by looking around and living in it for all that time. So that's a cool tip as well. Is there any more questions, Mark?
I don't think so.
I've got one here that's popping up. I've only got like 4, but so I think like maybe on our pages we get some from me. That's okay. That's cool. So one from June, she's saying, hey guys, do you think people emotionally buy homes like we do food? If it looks great, smells great, and you hit their senses, you've got them. Well, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, you go.
No, you go. It's all right.
It comes, and I've said it and I'll say it again, wherever your buyer sees your home to start with, there is an emotional connection straight away, whether that's on, and I think the big play on in real estate now is social media, and hence why I put a lot of my attention to social media. We can engage 5,000 to 10,000 people in the first few hours of launching a property, and it's huge. It's a lot of people. You're expecting that in other areas of advertising or other mediums. It's difficult, but they're going. Photos tell a huge story. When they walk in that house and it feels good, it's light, it's bright, and it smell. Whether you put the bread in the oven or the coffee percolator on or whatever it is, candles, incense. It tells a story, and I think that that's absolutely crucial. And I can give you a list of all these houses that were that. They were beautifully presented. They felt good when you walked in. They were styled. There wasn't a stone unturned, and the price reflected that every day of the week.
Absolutely.
People fall in love with the idea of wanting to come home and having a space just like that. And you would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely, because they fall in love with the lifestyle is the potential lifestyle that they can have. They picture themselves in there. They picture themselves in there like entertaining with friends when people come over. Like it sounds like it's, I don't know how to explain it, but basically these things run through people's minds as they're walking through places, and they fall in love with it. And especially when it's really presented well, there's more people that are attracted to it, and there's more people there at the open. Right. And there is definitely that, I really need this, I want this, I don't want them to have it because this is mine. And there's that urgency, I guess, and it's not a trick or anything. It's just human behavior. It's just an emotional human behavior. And it's not to to force anything upon them. It's just, this is what we do. It's creating the lifestyle, and the people that buy can absolutely have that lifestyle again. They just need to replicate it.
It is all emotion, and emotion is crucial. If you're a seller, you want to find an emotional buyer, because that emotional buyer will be the one that will move the quickest. And their fear of missing out takes over. And that's the most important thing. And I want to mention, Shona, how many times have buyers that have bought houses styled by yourself actually then gone and asked you where you got the furniture from and replicated a dining table, art on the wall,
yeah,
selling the whole dream, selling that whole idea of, you know, sometimes it's not just about the home, it's the way it feels and the way it's laid out. I remember you were saying to me once that an empty room often feels smaller, which never really made sense to me. That, you know, if a buyer might walk in and say that oh, my bed won't fit there, but actually, in fact, it would. Can you explain that scenario?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just perception of eyes. So when you've got a frame that has nothing in it, it's kind of, you know, it's how your eyes play tricks on you, right? And so when there's things in the room, there's a balance though. You can have too much in there, which will do an adverse effect. So you can have, so you can, like, for instance, you'll see, Mark, that like I'll style some rooms with a double bed because it actually works. There's enough room for side tables, and there's traffic flow. That's the main point that you would need to consider when you want to style your house, is make sure it's good traffic flow. When it doesn't feel like there's good traffic flow, that's when it feels small. But, you know, and then there's times when a single bed only a single bed will fit. But, you know, they're the realities of a 3x2 or a 3x4 bedroom. That's just the way it is. You know, we can't make things bigger. But definitely, an empty home feels cold. An empty home feels smaller. Most of us don't have the imagination of how it's going to be. Some of us do. Some of us are very clever with visualization. But yeah, it's kind of like, you know what, make the effort to put it and present it so that people don't have to imagine things.
Yeah. And it's funny because I always say, if I go into a house, it's a 4-bedroom house, they've got 3 bedrooms set up as bedrooms, like a study or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's annoying for those clients. I always say to them, you need to convert that back to a bedroom, because these people will honestly believe, these buyers will truly believe that is a study. So then it's only really a 3-bedroom house, even though it is genuinely a 4th bedroom. It's got its built-in robes. It's big enough for a double bed or a queen-size bed. I think I lost you, Shona. But it's really important that, you know, that you are displaying your home as actually what it offers and what it actually it presents to the market, and how you advertise. If you're advertising a 4-bedroom home, you need to present 4 bedrooms. So how do we get it back on? We'll get you back, Shona. She's dropped out. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I can't see any more at my end. I'm not sure how Shona is going to jump back in, because this is the first time we've done this. But look, thanks for watching. We'll be doing the same thing next week. We're going to advertise some new things to talk about. If you do have any questions, you can hang on. We might have another question here. Okay, so we've got a question from Katrina. Is there a formula to work out how much to spend on preparing your house for sale? Example, if your house is valued at 300, should you spend X amount? Well, I don't think there's an exact formula. Again, Katrina, I think it comes down to where you're spending your money, where you're putting that money into, and how. I mean, I guess it comes down to your ceiling, it comes down to your neighborhood. Here we go. She's trying to get back in. You there? Hi.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Where'd you go?
Someone tried to call and I forgot to put do not disturb on my phone.
All right, that'll do it.
Oops. So I don't know where you got to.
I just got another question from Katrina. Is there a formula to working out how much to spend on preparing your house for sale? For example, if your house is valued at 300, what should you spend? And I was just sort of saying, again, it comes down to where you are, your neighborhood, what your potential is. You know, you kind of actually almost have to work out what your sale price will be within reason. I think we've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Where we've gone, okay, well, if you do this, 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 and this, I think your house is probably going to be worth 360, 370. You know, you might want to limit that to say $10,000 to $15,000 to make that or get that return on investment, and make sure that all the effort that you're putting into the renovation is worthwhile. And when you're spending 10 to 15 grand, sometimes it's more, it comes down to, and you know, I leave this to you, Shona, there's probably a lot more effort that goes into it than just outlaying money, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you really need to treat it as a job. Like, I'll give you an example for my partner and I. When we renovated his home to sell, we were like gung-ho, okay, we're going to do it. We even, you know, put Mark, you know, signed up with Mark and said, okay, it's in January, we're going to do it. We had the funds to do it, and I made a plan. Obviously, with my background, I knew exactly what to spend. We're going to paint the walls, we're going to change the kitchen knobs, we're going to put lights in, carpet. So it wasn't just about the money, but what happened was life got in the way. And so, you know, we just, it takes time, and we didn't end up putting it on the market till April. So I guess the thing is just planning and making it as like a job, and really sticking to it, even if you take a couple of weeks off work, and sticking to a plan.
Yeah, you actually took time off work in the end because it wasn't getting done, correct? Like you.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, we had to. It sort of started to drag out. And I think the most of the time, in my experience with people renovating and doing a considerable job, people get the halfway blues. I don't know what you call it. They start to lose the plot and almost it's hard work. But
definitely.
So but
I think we need to, like, I mean, next week we're going to talk a lot about that, like about the emotions and the motivation to keep going renovating, not just with the renovating and selling, but also, you know, the process of what you do, the marketing campaign and that. So we're going to talk a lot about that with the emotional and the overwhelm. But I think for this, you know, just making sure it's a plan, and really put it into your plan that you could potentially take 2 weeks off work to actually do the work. So, you know, that can be part of your capitalizing, over capitalizing, under capitalizing part of it as well. Is just, you know, put that in. What's it worth? You're taking your holiday pay, that sort of thing. So that's a part of it as well.
So back to Katrina's question, there's no real formula, I wouldn't say. I think it comes down to individual scenario. I think you need to know what you're doing, what money and where you're spending it, and ultimately how it'll compare to maybe a house that sold up the street in the past 6 months and what that sold for. So it's probably a case-by-case scenario. But what I will say is, when you do those things and really make those improvements, I think you always get surprised by the results. So the more effort, and you know, the more effort you put in, the more reward you get, for sure. Absolutely,
definitely. And it is, you're right, it is case by case, but definitely stick. I guess the only strategic thing would be to neutralize it, declutter it, change old light fittings that are old, you know, the old stuff. And if there's things like really run down, like your carpets, it's worth investing in that. The strategy really is just fixing the things that take away the objections. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You know, if a buyer has to walk in and feels like they've got to outlay more money, like we discussed earlier, sometimes it's a deal breaker. So, but then you also got the scenario where if you've got a house that's requiring a major renovation, then, you know, ultimately it might be a scenario where you just let that next buyer do that renovation. So if you've got a house and you're painting and you're doing all these things, but the underlying foundations, or it needs restumping, or the roof's half case, like, it's a case by case situation. So if you're,
absolutely,
you know, sometimes it's if you're not prepared to invest $50,000 into a major scenario, then, you know, in some instances it's worthwhile letting someone come in and you know, take on that project. But if it's $10,000 to $15,000, you're going to get reward if you're really taking those little objections away from a buyer.
All right, cool. So before we wrap it up, maybe we could do some, like, just quick, like, examples of that. So say it's in an area that's growing. You bought the property 10 years ago, 15 years ago for 180,000. The properties are around, you know, selling, or the value has gone up to about 320. You know, it's probably worth spending that $40,000.
Yeah.
$50,000 to really renovate it and do that extra, perhaps put a new bathroom in, but without keep the plumbing as it is. Like, don't do major because that's going to blow out. But spending that much money so you can potentially get your 320 to 360.
Yeah, if you've got, again, financial situation, if you've got plenty of equity in your home and you're prepared to put it, and it might be that it's only one bathroom that needs to be done to finish it off, then you got to do it. You'd be mad not to. So, it's not a broad situation. You definitely have to look at it case by case. If it is just finalising that, it's that final thing with the home that actually gets you over the line with your buyers, takes that final objection out. You'll get a quick, short, sharp campaign. There's buyers out there right now. There's plenty of buyers looking. We have more buyers than properties on the market at the moment. So, there's definitely the opportunity for competition as we speak in the market. Yeah. So, but again, it's getting that advice, understanding your market, understanding your neighborhood, what your property ceiling is, what your potential is. All right, if that's the potential, then we know that we probably leave this to the next buyer. But focus on doing this and this. So I think I've got
get the advice. Yep, get the advice. You got more?
I have.
Yep.
Okay. Wendy has asked, would you spend money on updating window furnishings?
This is a really good question because there's a lot of people that have spent. Look, window furnishings can be quite like budget friendly, or they can be something that you've spent $14,000 to $16,000 on 10 years ago, and some people find it really hard to let go of something they've spent, like really invested in, even if they're daggy and old and they've kind of lost that, the trend, I guess. There might be big bold colours from the 80s maybe, and they've, spent a lot of that.
The beautiful pelmet.
Yeah, the big, and the fringing and that sort of thing, So that's not going to appeal to everybody, and I guess that's going to be another objection because, they can't just move in like that. To some people can, it's okay. But I would suggest that you would spend money on just some blinds. Like, you can get some blinds from Spotlight. You can get some custom made ones, from your window furnishing places. But just do that with some, very simple, soft, little curtains in front of it that you're not spending a lot of money on, but it's updating, so it's not that expense that you need to retrieve back, but it still looks amazing, it's still got purpose, and it's functional.
Agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wendy.
Yeah, that was a good question.
But yeah, again, case by case.
Yeah, exactly. Case by case. If you got curtains that, are still fine and they still work with the colors, it's neutral, just, leave them there. That's fine. But yeah, absolutely, if they're ratty and old and not working, like shutters, and there's bits of shutters missing, definitely upgrade them for sure. Because that's going to be a yucky feeling walking in anyway.
Yeah, we renovated I didn't renovate it. The vendors, and with your advice, a really nice one in Bowen Crescent about a year ago. And that was an example of all the timber in the home was painted. There was timber Venetians that looked really good. They were fine, but they didn't work. So they were replaced with some really nice blinds, and that ultimately finishes a home off. You could leave those good blinds; they were okay, but it was worth their money. Taking those ones off and spending a bit of money to put some new ones on. So
yeah, absolutely. I guess the other thing is don't take the furnishings down if they are oldish, tattered. Don't take them down and don't replace them, because especially if there's a bedroom at the front facing the street and there's no window or blind there for privacy, people pick up on that as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's not that exposure feeling. So definitely don't take things off if you can't replace it.
Cool.
All right, how we go? I think I don't have any more questions. How'd you go? What have you got?
No, I think I'm done.
You think you're done? We've done so well. We're supposed to be 30 minutes. We've gone 45. But anyway, well, so guys, if you want to jump on, we'll try and keep things short. Probably shorter next week, so that you're not just wasting your time looking at our faces. But
what else would you be doing in ISO?
Hey, what was that?
What else would you be doing in ISO?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So if you want more information, or you want to, not more information, sorry, if you want to get notified for the lives for next week, we're going to do it on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Just put notify me in the comments, and that will be automated so that you can be notified straight away. What else? I think, if you need more information from Mark for any of his listings at the moment, or you want to ask him a few more questions, you know where to reach him, either via his page, or you can call him. All the information's on his page.
If you just want to chat about the market, like it's,
oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
there's a lot of speculation, particularly in the news and the media, about what's going to happen, and what the banks are predicting. I guess we can only go by what's happening here locally, and the activities that activity levels that we are seeing. So if you do want to have a chat, I'm happy to come out. Appraisals are a scary word for a lot of people. And I honestly am happy to come out and discuss this. If you're not selling for 5 or 10 years, that's not what my job's about. It's about making sure that we can provide the right advice. And if you're wanting to spend some money and you want to live in it for another 5 or 10 years, and it's absolutely my honor to be able to give you that advice if that's what you're after.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're bloody amazing at what you do. And I guess the difference is, the integrity as well. But you really want to see people move on with their best interests at heart, because you're passionate. This is what you do. This is what you love. So I love it. That's awesome. That's why we do what we do, Mark.
We do it.
That's it. All right, guys. So, yeah, if they're all done, are you done?
I'm good.
All right, so I've had fun. This will be good. I can't wait for next week. We've got a few cool subjects coming up, so it'll be really interesting. You can pop on, and again, I said at the start of the session is that if you miss it, you can't make the 11 a.m. lives. They'll be uploaded on Mark's page, so you'll be able to rewatch them at a later date, and send some questions in for next week if you want to, and we'll be able to answer them. But that's it. That's a wrap.
Namaste.
Coolio. I'll catch you next time.
Guys.
See you guys. Have a great day.